Hi, I'm Camden Ellingson, and I'm an iDesign senior with the concentration in business and marketing. My hometown is Hoka, Minnesota. Through the isolation and divisiveness emerging from the events of this past year, we have all been lost in our own thoughts. For the first time, we had the ability to mute the distraction caused by the constant barrage from the world beyond the walls of our homes. This time frame of incubation has provided a platform for a metamorphosis. Much akin to a caterpillar cocooning and transforming into a butterfly, many of us have evolved into the next iteration of ourselves, often for the better. My personal metamorphosis revolves around how adapting to the pandemic and new world has allowed me to strip back the excess in life and focus on what is not only essential, but important to me. This has enabled a much healthier and more fruitful life. In essence, the period of isolation has served as a refreshing and optimistic lens to view life through. Prior to this transitional phase, my life was plagued with detrimental practices and mindsets. However, the filtration ensuing this introspection revealed the core necessities of life. My piece encourages others to filter their own habits and values in the hope that they too can shed their burdens and come to see that light, no matter how minuscule, always overpowers the darkness. My public artwork serves the purpose of communicating my personal experience of growth through character. The overarching message of the installation will be to instill reflection, positivity, and hopefulness in the communities of Winona and Pickwick. For my installation, the audience is able to view through 3 windows into the heart of the piece. Reading through the windows from left to right, the viewer sees the transformative process of a full narrative, speaking from a negative perspective being filtered down to an extracted version of that text that adopts a new positive outlook. When viewing through a positive lens, negativity is effectively eliminated from view. When the pandemic began and the doors to every building and home began to lock for the foreseeable future, we were all tucked away within the confines of our own houses and apartments. We were forced onto the perfect platform for introspection and inner meditation. We were forced to notice things about ourselves that were previously left ignored. Through my meditative state, I began to notice that much of the negativity that was flooding into my life was preventable if I just minimize and recenter my focus on the truest of values. Emerging from this came a much more minimalistic lifestyle. By concentrating on the important aspects of life, you too can gain a sense of freedom and contentment. This is what my piece is about. The exterior reflects the chaos of the outer world, while the windows opened up into the interior reflect my inner thoughts. The show isn't afraid to expose its ugly underbelly of the darker, more interpersonal battles we've all faced. And by embracing this darkness, there comes a sort of process of accepting it for what it is. And through acceptance comes healing. Coming into the senior show, I was excited to experiment with a new media. That media was an art installation construction that would be used for the purpose of our senior capstone. It would serve as a springboard for free-form artistic expression, as well as one final burst of work while on the precipice of commencement day. This semester's final task was not like the campaigns tackled in the previous semesters. There was no target demographic research, no marketing strategies, and definitely no clientele. Each designer was designated to create something much more personal and transparent to the soul. It would center around the chaotic events of the previous year. I faced many challenges while developing this piece. After many failed prototypes, many back to the drawing board moments, and a heartbreaking amount of trial and error, this piece was a slow and testing process. With deadlines galloping towards us, we ramped up and plugged in as much work and creativity as we were able to. Another difficult challenge is finding the willpower to open yourself up that intimately in a public setting. There's a process of becoming more comfortable and accepting of it. There ensues a subsequent healing process. I had to implement design thinking into this piece. This is a philosophy of using systematic creative processes and perspectives in order to make decisions that will reinforce the design and concept. Every aspect of the work was to be purposeful and functional. One interesting point of design thinking for this particular project was the need to wear a carpenter's hat and carefully craft the blueprints for a life-size structure. This capstone has provided many new challenges that forced us to rely on our designer brains in order to adapt and overcome. From prepare, to play, to prototype, to produce, to present, my senior capstone was quite the journey. I would like to thank my fellow colleagues of Luminous for all of their support and input. We were all able to really unite as a team and keep each other encouraged and determined. I would like to thank my dad for educating me on all the ins and outs of woodworking. I would also like to thank Professor Ma, Professor Danilo, and the whole WSU Art Department for providing the necessary resources and proper guidance needed, not just for this capstone, but also in order to accomplish everything of the last 3 years that I've been a Winona State Warrior. Finally, I would like to thank the Pickwick City Board for finding a home for our exhibition, as well as generating excitement and anticipation surrounding this event. I hope everyone enjoys the show and can find their own personal metamorphosis of some sorts. Thank you.